Hi.
I
Aye.
con
Con,
The
con, con,
con
con.
the con is coming.
con.
Speaking of the con, we would like to
Woo!
thank our platinum level sponsor, Grit Automation,
Yeah, baby.
for being our platinum level sponsor, the one and only for Splinter Con. I almost called it Green Suiter Con. Splinter
Ooh,
Con.
splint that con.
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 Coming in
Con.
like what? It's like 7 weeks away.
Yeah, dude. I'm so pumped.
7 more weeks.
Uh-huh.
Ticket sales will be ending. I think I put it in the group in the it's like right after this episode comes out. I think it's like the 13th or something I said was the last day. After that, we're not selling any more tickets because we need final numbers so we can start getting all the cool extra goodies and the planning that goes along with this event.
Snacks.
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 Right now it's looking like about 75 is the number. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's just so daggone cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
that friggin' place is
Oh.
gonna be
And
popping
it's an extra day, which is wicked.
yeah.
and an extra day.
So we can chill.
Yeah.
And I can win a lot of
Unfortunately,
more. I can personally win a lot more giveaway stuff.
yeah. I unfortunately I did a very poor job in planning the weekend that it is taking place because it is the same 4 days that the Ryder Cup is going on where the USA plays
Oh.
Europe in golf. And it
Uh,
only happens every 2 years. So I'm gonna tell everybody now, if you see me off in a corner looking at my tiny little phone, you'll know that I'm watching the Ryder
Oh,
Cup.
I'm glad you said phone.
Yeah.
oh gosh.
Good one, Sedge. Great.
But I'm bum.
Now I owe you an old man joke for sometime during this episode. Okay, I need to fill you guys in on my contractor debacle. You guys ready?
What happened?
Well, because I haven't told you guys this at all, and I really didn't share a lot of it on social media at all. Mainly because I didn't know if he would see it, but I don't really care. And, obviously I'm going to leave out some details just because. However, so obviously I wanted to hire out the drywall work for the basement. So I called my buddy up who runs a business here in the Indianapolis area and does like high end remodeling and stuff like that. And I said, hey, do you have any guys that you would recommend for drywall? And he's like, yeah, I got like these three crews that I use all the time. This guy's the best. This guy's the most expensive. And this guy's pretty good, but sometimes, we have to call him back out to fix a bunch of stuff. But he's always very responsive. I'm like, okay. So I call one of the guys, gives me an estimate. He didn't even come out and look. He's just like, send me pictures and tell me the square footage and everything, and I'll give you an estimate. $3,500. And I'm like, man, that seems expensive for one room. But I knew it would be a little bit more because it's such a small job. I get it. And then I called him back and I was like, yeah, I called this guy. I was like, $3,500. He's like, well, I did just meet this guy at Menards this morning and he gave me his business card. And I'm always looking for new contractors. And he's a drywall guy. Super nice dude. Try giving him a call. It was just weird timing. So I call this guy. He comes out, younger guy, very polite, comes downstairs, looks at the stuff, even offers to like do the painting and, all this other stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do that myself. So he leaves. He's like, I'll have an estimate for you in the next couple of days. And I'm like, okay.
I wonder why it
So
took
he
them so
leaves.
long.
Right. That's the first thing I want to talk about. He leaves. A couple of days goes by. Don't hear anything. So I have to send him a message. And I'm like, hey, just curious if you had a chance to work up that estimate. Yeah, I was going to send it to you right now, but what I came up with is 3,500. And if you're happy with that, then I'll go over and send a contract. And I'm like, 3,500. Okay, same price as the other guy. And then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, do I hire this guy or do I hire the other guy that my buddy recommended? And I was like, well, maybe this guy will be good and it'll help my friend out and he'll have another drywall guy. But then I asked him, I said, well, let me ask you this. Would you be willing to hang the drywall before I left? And then when I get back, you come and do the rest of the work. And he was like,
That's
yeah, I
right.
can make that happen. I'm finishing up a job this week. We can be out there, next Monday or Tuesday. Cool. I'll go with you then. 50% deposit. And I asked this, I was like, what's your payment structure? He's like 50% up front and then the other 50% when the job's complete. I said, cool. So I sent him the 50%. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to send you a receipt for what you already paid. Never received that. Right. So now I'm thinking, like, man, did I hire the right guy? Like, this guy seems
Yep.
all over the place. So I started questioning it. Right. I had these expectations in mind, being somebody that owned a business and dealt with clients. And I'm like, all of his communication has just like been poor. So fast forward over the weekend, Monday comes, a couple of guys show up, these two Hispanic dudes, a guy and his father, and then him. They all show up, go down there, and I mean, this guy is like, they're moving. They're like working hard, carrying everything up and downstairs, getting all the materials in there. They like removed my basement window and put everything down there, reinstalled the window. Like they actually took the panes out. They like popped the stuff off instead of like actually removing the egress window. And so they get that, they put it back in. Everything's going fine. And I mean, I was really impressed. I was like, man, I hired the right guy. This is great. So they hang everything, they leave. I was like, cool, see you in a couple weeks. Go to Germany, come back. And we got back and I messaged him and I said, hey, just wanted to make sure that we're still on for Monday, right? The following Monday after we got back. He responds, yep, see you Monday morning. I'll be doing the finish work, not the other guys. It'll be me doing it. I'm like, all right. About 3 hours goes by and he sends me a message. And it says, would you by chance be willing to pay another installment on the job?
Oh,
And he goes, if not, totally understandable. Just wanted to ask. And so I wrote him back and I had to think about it for a while because I'm like, this is strange. And I said, I thought it was 50% up front and 50% after. He then responds with some messages like, well, yeah, that is what I told you, but it's not typical that I have a client that I start a job and then they go out of the country for a couple of weeks and that other money went to paying my guys and for materials and blah, 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 blah. And then I'm thinking in my head, like, who cares? What if this job took 6 effing months? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if you put the pay structure the way it is, like that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And so then I went back to all the red flags that I saw previously. And I'm like, but at the same time, I was thinking in my head, maybe this guy's having a little bit of trouble financially and I can help somehow, but I'm not paying him the rest of the money. So I said, when you say installment, do you mean like another 25% or do you mean like the rest of the payment? He was like 25%. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. That's fine. So I wrote him a check, put it out in my mailbox. He came by, picked it up. Monday morning came. He was like thankful. He's like, man, thanks. I really appreciate it. See you on Monday, whatever. Actually, he never even told me that he came and got the check, right? He just showed up on Monday. Shows up at about 9:00, goes downstairs, gets to work. I don't see him until like 2. He comes upstairs, like, hey, I got everything taped. Tomorrow I'm going to come back and do the second coat. We're going to let it dry overnight. Cool, right? I'm like, I want him to do it that way because I've had other contractors that came in, they like do the tape and then they do a layer and then they go back and do another layer. And like the stuff's not even dry, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, all right, this guy's going to do it the right way. Cool. And he told me, he's like, it'll probably, if I start on Monday, I probably won't be done until Thursday. I'm like, cool. So this week is just you doing your thing. Got it. So he shows up on Tuesday. He tells me he's going to be here between 8 and 9. I don't get a message. He shows up at 10:30. No message at all. Goes downstairs, starts working, comes back upstairs a couple hours later and is like, hey, I need more mud. I ran out of mud. And I'm like, how did you run out of mud? Like, you're here to do drywall on a single room. Like, how'd you run out of mud? Yeah, I need to go get some more mud. And I'm probably going to go grab something to eat too. And I'm like, all right, whatever. He leaves.
Doesn't come back.
No, he left at like 1. It's now 3. It's like 3:30. Still not back. No message. And so I texted him because we were going to take the kids somewhere. It was Leo's first day or the last day before Leo goes back to school. So he took him like Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, or that was his first day. It was on Wednesday. And I text him and I'm like, "Hey man, we have to leave at 4:30. I don't know if you're planning on coming back, but we got to go." Oh, actually, I was on my way back to your house right now. I'll be done by 4:30. Wasn't done by 4:30. Okay, so then he leaves and he tells me on the way out, he's like, "Well, I'll probably be here at 8 tomorrow because I don't need any other materials or anything. I'm just coming to, do the work." This is Thursday. And I'm thinking, this is not going to be done. I'm sorry. No, this is Wednesday. I know I'm getting confused. This is
Okay.
Wednesday that he leaves. He tells me that he's going to be there Thursday. Well, I go and had something to do in the morning, pick something up, and I write the guy in the morning and I say, "Hey, man, just want to let you know I'm going to be gone. If you could just send me a text when you're on your way, I just want to make sure that I'm back in time." About 9:30 rolls around and he writes me and says, "I'm not going to be able to make it out there today. Something came up. I'll try to make it out tomorrow."
Gosh.
And I'm like, "There's a problem." So I was going to just basically go downstairs. Like I was going to race home, go downstairs, get his stuff, put it on the front porch and write him and say, "You can come pick up your stuff whenever you want. I'm going to find somebody else to finish the job." Because now I'm like, this won't be done this week. If he doesn't come today and he comes tomorrow, it won't be done this week. And now it's going to affect our weekend. So I called my buddy who, gave me his information. And he said, I was like really angry. And I'm really glad that I called him because he kind of like led me down the more compassionate side because that's just the kind of guy that he is. He runs a business, deals with the guys a lot of time, likes to give people the benefit of the doubt. And basically what he said is like, you never know what he's going through. He might be dealing with something. So I called him. He didn't answer. He calls me back. And I didn't think he would answer, but he called me back. And he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me. What's up?" And he got really quiet. And this is the part that I'll leave out some of the details. And I was like, "Can you tell me?" He's like, "Well, if I'm being completely honest," and he tells me what's going on. He's having like this horrible crisis, like financially. Long story short, he basically doesn't even have money to put in his car for gas, and he was embarrassed and he didn't want to tell me that. And so, I ended up being, trying to be compassionate. I was like, "Come over here. If you come over here, I will give you cash. You go fill up your gas. If you can be here today and tomorrow, you want to get that last paycheck, I'm assuming. Can you finish this job by Friday?" And he's like, "Yes, I absolutely can." And so, he comes, he doesn't even go get the gas initially. His gas was like damn near empty, but he doesn't go get the gas, comes downstairs, he works, he finishes everything up, comes back the next day, sands everything. I was gone when he sanded everything, come back, everything looks really nice. Right? Um, he took his check and he left. While this all happened, it made me think like, do we as, and this is what I want to talk about, do we as woodworkers and business owners have unrealistic expectations for other people in the trades and other businesses versus the person who is not a business owner or has never run a business, maybe not knowing what to expect? Like, do you think the fact that we have dealt with clients or deal with clients, or we do a job that is in exchange for money, do you think our expectations are too high for other tradespeople?
From whose perspective? From the homeowner's perspective, or
No, I'm
from
talking about from us.
us as what we all know, and we bring a tradesperson in.
Right. It's like I'm a
Okay.
woodworker. I ran a business where I built custom
Yes.
furniture for clients.
Yes.
You still are
Yes.
running a business.
Right.
Sedge ran a cabinet shop. Like we've all been there and we've all dealt with these experiences. But when it comes to, the expectations and like the money that's being spent, are our expectations too high for the money we're charging? And this can also go another direction too, because I thought about this. Like, I don't know the first thing about drywall, right? I know what it's supposed to look like. I know how to mud and tape joints. I'm not good at it, which is why I hired it out. But I expect that somebody else who I'm hiring that does it for a living is going to do a really good job. But like, how do I know that $3,500 is a good job versus the guy that would do it for six? Right. And so, like, my expectations for the guy that are doing it for six are going to be really high. But how do I judge what expectations I have for the guy that's at 35? Because I don't know. I have no basis. Go ahead.
Your expectations are not what's happening right now or what just happened. It's not expectations of the tradesman. It's expectations of common decency. Returning a phone call, promising that you'll be there at 8 and show up at 10:30. That's horse shit. Okay? And I am at a point where my expectations are if they say and I'll question somebody, I'll go, you said you're gonna be here at 9? They go, yeah. I go, you're gonna be here at 9 then, right? Not 9:10 or 9:15. And they look at me and they go, and I set the expectations that I want if someone's coming into my house. Because I am a clock. I'm prompt. I was never late. If I was stuck in traffic or something, I would call. Back then we didn't have text. Yada yada. But yeah, there it is, Jason. I let you
Dang
in
it.
there, buddy. Okay, yeah, and no, it wasn't two tin cans and a cord either. But it's called common decency, and that's the stuff that drives me completely. It happens at work. People say, "Oh yeah, we'll do this," and I go, "Where were you?" And I pride myself, and I was taught this. If you tell somebody you're going to be there, you be there. And I always show up. My whole family's like this. We show up 10, 15 minutes early just to make sure we're on time, we're prompt. And that is something that is quite missing nowadays. I
Yeah.
mean, I used to go down to the Keys and I'd see people walk in 2 hours late, and I'd look at the boss, and the boss would go, "Yeah, man, they're here, man. It's island time." And I go, I couldn't handle it.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So for
Mhm.
me, it's common decency, and there's other things I could tell you. Like I don't bullshit me. You know my garage door debacle. I think I've talked
Mhm.
about it on here. And Jason, you came over here, looked at it, and you went, "No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
accept
Something looks
that."
right. Yeah.
And he tried
Something
to
looks
tell me it
wrong.
was level. And I looked at him. I brought up my Stabila level and I put it on there. I go, the concrete is level. Don't bullshit me. And he just looked at me. They were drunk from the night before. And these were the pros. That's the stuff that kills me. My expectations are high, and they should be, because number one, I'm a homeowner now. And two, I know they're bullshitting me when they bullshit me. And I don't take that. I just don't. I go, get out. I can't handle it. And no, my expectations are not high. It's called a person's word,
Mm-hmm.
and you live by it, or that is a trust broken.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a big heart, Jason.
Yeah,
Uh, you got a big heart.
you went farther than I would.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I figured that, and like that led to this thought even more. It's like I bent over backwards to help this guy out, and like, and I'm still like, I get it. I will be very clear in saying that what he is going through right now, like I can't even imagine. And I feel like a lot of times, you know, we take things for granted because there's people out there that like are struggling that freaking bad
Hmm.
to a point of like, this job, it'll be the thing that like possibly feeds. And I can appreciate that. And that's why I think it kind of struck a chord with me. And I'm like, I want to help this guy out as much as I can because he's obviously like trying to get on his feet for this business and make something of it. And again, there's a lot to this, but out of respect for him, I'm not going to share all of that. Um,
But here's what I'll say. He may be going through something, but it did not stop him. He's not paying by the call or the text.
right.
And
True. Yeah. With the communication
even
there,
no matter
I don't
what
feel like
he's
there's any
going through,
excuse.
he he couldn't handle his business to hang on to the money before you got back. And it means he's like living from paycheck to paycheck, which people do that. But when
Oh,
you're
he
running a
certainly
business,
was.
I mean, you've got sometimes people don't pay you for 30 days. He's never going to make it. He needs to get a job.
Yeah.
He needs to stop with the business. He's not there. Maybe he's too young, but there's no way he's going to make it.
How old do you
Yeah.
think he was?
Oh man, he was probably in his late 20s, early 30s, maybe.
So he's in that mode right now where he wants to have his own business. He's worked for somebody or maybe a few somebodies, and he thinks he can do it himself. I
Mhm.
say it all the time. You have to have business acumen. You got to give yourself some time, and he started too soon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to
He
tell you
didn't have
something.
his, and he's probably got a lot of personal problems too, and
Oh,
you
for sure.
have to take that in account.
Yeah. He doesn't have a buffer in his bank account. You got to have a little back, especially in the beginning. I had to seed my account whenever I started my business, $5,000. I still remember how much I put in there. And
I just took some money out of my Sedge tool account because I had to seed it.
yeah, I did. You're right. 3 years later, we asked our accountant. I said, "Can we pay ourselves back the money?" He goes, "Oh yeah, you can just write it
Hmm.
back." So we forgot about that. But I have never had to put money into the account outside of what I've earned in the business, which is nice. And I know I've at least made it that far, like that. I'm
Hmm.
not, that never went negative. Now, I will say also, I have a company credit card that put everything on. If I did go in the negative, I'd have a safety there. I could go into the where I actually owe money and I don't pay it off every month. So that's my safety net, I guess. But I've never had to do that either. And then I just feel like that he's taken on this job. The only thing I'll give him credit for is maybe he's not set up to handle a 2 week delay between his process.
Yes,
That's
you have to have
that's the
that
only
back.
thing that you may have had a totally different experience if you hadn't cut it in the middle. Maybe.
Yeah, well, so the plot is going to thicken now.
Oh,
Oh,
So one of the guys that my buddy gave me a recommendation for was the guy that he said was the best and he's the most expensive. Turns out that guy is this dude's dad. And I did not know that at the time, but when I saw
oh,
the last name, I'm like, huh, that's the same last name as the guy that my buddy
quoted
sent
me.
me, who,
that's why his price was the same.
well, he said, no, no, not, I didn't call the dude.
Oh, the one you
It's,
quoted before, you had two $3,500 quotes,
I
right?
did, but that was not the guy that he told
Oh,
me
okay.
was the best.
Oh,
This
Okay. I
other
thought
guy,
it
he
was
told me,
crazy that they had the same quote.
yeah, it's this guy's dad. And I purposely didn't call him, which I kind of wish I would have now. But I purposely didn't call him because my friend told me, he's like, hey, this dude is like the best. He told me, he's like, he's probably the best drywall finisher I have ever seen. Like, very punctual, comes like
mm.
in a polo, like has business shirts, like super responsive. But he goes, he is like the best drywaller I have ever seen. He's been in business for years. Turns out that's his dad, and he
Oh,
used to work for his father.
yeah.
There we go.
So then I was like, oh, cool. That made me feel a little bit better because this was before the job was done that we had this conversation. And I'm like, okay, so maybe he knows exactly what he needs to do. He's just trying to do it on his own. Right. So I want to fast forward to today. Yesterday, I went through over the weekend. On Saturday, I was like prepping everything because I knew on Sunday I was going to spray all my primer. So go through and I prep everything. There's still a lot of dust on the walls and stuff. So I went and vacuumed everything off, the ceiling, went back with a damp rag, wiped everything down, no dust left. Everything looked really good. Um, Went through, sprayed 2 coats of primer yesterday. It looked phenomenal when the primer was on. Again, it's primer. It's not a very well lit space, but I looked at it, I was like, man, this looks really good. Well, then today came
Oh no.
and Nicole wanted the walls to be black. And so I did a bunch of research and I'm like, man, I've used dark colors before. And I know like you don't want to go too much sheen because it's going to accentuate everything that, every mistake and every inconsistency or whatever.
Mm.
And I'm like, so I do some research and it's like, do I want to go matte? I'm like, I don't really want to go matte because if those walls get dirty or they get sweat on them and stuff, like cleaning those things off is like there's going to be glossy marks all over the place. I'm like, I think the best bet is to go with like an eggshell, or in Sherwin-Williams' case, satin. It's the same as eggshell. Kind of the best of both worlds. Gives me the ability to wipe it off if needed, um, but still is on the more dim side, or more subdued side. Well, I go and start finishing it today, and I'm going to tell you right now, I am so effing disappointed in the drywall because,
Ever
to
get
be
a
fair, I did use black and I did use eggshell, and I did know that this was going to be an issue. But boy, let me tell you, I can see every
Mhm.
single spot that there is mud on that wall. And I can see the drastic difference in the texture of the drywall that doesn't have any mud, even though I put two coats, sprayed two good coats of
primer?
primer, and even sanded to get rid of all the raised fibers from the drywall. Everything was smooth. Sprayed the first coat, and I'm like, this sucks. And I'm like, I need to roll the second coat to maybe get a little bit of texture on the wall to help conceal some of this.
Yep.
It didn't make that big of a difference. So there's now two coats on there. Nicole's happy with it, but I go in there and I'm like, I so going back to expectations. Now I'm like, this is not good. Although if it was white, probably would not notice any of it.
Right. What if it was flat black? Do you think it would show still?
Not nearly as bad.
Mm.
And here's the other thing. I can actually see in many locations where the drywall screw is, which is very interesting. Like it's
Oh,
slightly indented. I can see probably 40 of them.
what?
Yeah. And what's crazy about it is when I went through and inspected everything, there, like, to the naked eye, I can't see any of that. I couldn't
Yeah.
even feel it as
You're
soon as I put the black on it.
you're seeing the same thing that the dent repair people see when they hold the light up to a dark car, and it actually looks like a design. It halos out like
Yeah.
a white triangle circle. So it's kind of creating that same effect. I wonder about doing something like spraying a flat poly over that.
Well, I mean, it would definitely um, take care of the light reflection issue for sure. Because I did that with the black doors sedge on the built-in that I did.
Yes.
When I cut those pieces, that was ash, but it was quarter sawn ash, so it had all the ray flecking. And when I
Mhm.
put the India ink on, I was like, "Dang it, I don't like that look." As soon as I put that like zero sheen finish on it,
Mhm.
it killed it completely because
Mhm.
the light doesn't reflect on it anymore.
Yeah, I feel like you would like the look better no matter what, and then it also be washable.
Would
Yeah.
it apply just
Should
directly over
be.
the
You
paint,
use
no
water
problem?
based, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would think they would be fine. A flat poly or equivalent, something that I just think of poly as being the most inexpensive. It's durable, dries fast, that kind of thing.
that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean, you could verify it with a paint store that knows what they're talking about
That
and
is a
has good
really
employees.
interesting thought because I could do that and like,
Yeah, that could be easy.
and then since I rolled the second coat and it's black, and I got really good coverage on the second coat because I was like, I need to get good coverage. I can see like, granted, it's not fully cured yet, but I could see lap lines when I went down there. Like the room is so dang dark now, it's actually scary. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like ceiling black, walls black, floor is going to be black, and Nicole loves it.
Wow.
I do think that when I hook up the wire the lights, I
Hmm.
do think that will help offset it a little bit because I
Mhm.
won't be just it's not just the natural light coming in and reflecting on this one wall.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I do think that that'll subdue it quite a bit
It
actually.
will. It will.
But it's still not going to take care of the problem. And I'm telling you right now, I really do
So,
not want to go through and fill every single one of those holes.
if you walk down there about 11 o'clock tonight, I bet you don't see anything.
Yeah, I won't see anything at all
You know, also, it sounds like
Don't turn on a light.
from what I'm hearing, the only light you're getting is from the outside of the
right
hallway.
now.
So you're doing the same thing that the detail guys are doing when they're looking for the dings.
Mm.
It's outside light shining from the side down a
Yes.
shiny surface.
It's a
So I
rake
also would
raking
say that
light.
possibly when you get the overhead lighting, it may not be apparent at all,
Hmm.
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
because
you
right
get
now you're getting a side filtered light.
a raking light. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you do when you finish. So when you're spraying, you have a light here and you're spraying here. Automotive guys do this all the time.
Hmm.
That way there they watch their lines and their overlap. I used to
Yeah,
do it all the time.
and you said you were seeing the overlap lines too.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, I had
could
to go in
be.
there with like one of the Festool LED lights just to show Nicole, just because it's starting to get dark out and that room doesn't get a lot of natural light to begin with. But um, I don't know. When I see that now though, and I'm like, I don't think that like the quality is there. So again, going back, it's like, were my expectations too high for paying $3,500? It certainly, like when it was done before I put any primer on it and stuff, like you can look at it and go, okay, this person knows what they're doing. Like everything was like nice and straight lines. It was very clean. Like if I did it, it'd be like mud, like all over the place, like really sloppy form. But I mean, I can just see everything now. And I'm praying that when I wire those lights up, and plus there's going to be like a light filtering blind that's going to be in the window, so that's going to
Mhm.
stop any direct glare from coming in. But I don't know, it's like, what should I have expected for that? Like I wasn't expecting a level 5 finish, but I'll tell you what, if you're ever, listen to me, everybody that's listening to this podcast right now, if you ever put black paint on your walls, you better pay the money to have a level 5 finish where they skim your entire wall and make it perfect, because you will see everything. Everything.
And
And
you'll see that not even with just, you'll see that with color.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're using an eggshell or
Navy
satin.
blue, greens,
Yep.
maroons, all those
Oh
colors
yeah. I mean,
all look
down into
good.
my basement, I have that yellow or gold, and it pops it.
Yeah. But that
mm,
side light definitely highlights it. I
Yep.
think you might see a difference. And light gets killed so fast by black. When you have
Hmm.
more than one fixture in the room, it
It
won't be able to be
absorbs.
diffused as fast. So it'll be
It,
brighter in there.
it absorbs it.
well,
Yep.
it's funny because that color, we went with tricorn black, which is a real
Mhm.
popular color right now.
It's the darkest color that Sherwin-Williams has.
Yeah. I'll
Mhm.
tell you what, I had the big Festool light and the little battery operated Festool light, and I still couldn't, because it doesn't reflect the dang light. I
Mhm.
still had a hard time seeing what I was doing in that room after I painted it. I painted the ceiling and I'm like, wow, this really got weird. Like, and then I painted one wall and I'm like, holy crap. Like the room is changing like drastically because this, I
Yeah,
asked
That's
the kid, I'm
why
like, are
they
you sure you
call
want
it.
this?
That's why
tricorn.
they call it a dungeon.
Another thing that you could consider too is that, like she said, she wanted black. You could have did a black that was like 80% of gray, for example. Just think of a dark gray, like 80% level, and she would have thought it was black. She would have went down there and said, "Oh, I love my black room," because it's already a darker room, and it just would appear black. Like you think about when you go to a hotel workout facility and stuff, those aren't black walls. Those are like dark, dark gray.
Yeah.
And if you everybody thinks Festool is green and black, no, it's a really dark blue.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Put something black next to it, and you go, oh, it is blue.
Hmm. Yeah. Same
Mm.
same goes for like white houses and how glaringly white they are. The ones that people see and look good and call White House is really nowhere close to white. It's like a
Yeah.
version of a beige or a
Yep.
gray
Yep.
color.
Well, I'm
Yep.
I'm gonna pose a question to you guys real quick, and then I'm gonna run and use the little boys' room. But so when it comes to hiring, let's take the drywall side out of it, right? Like, so that's the issue that I had, but raise these questions. How how do we get our expectations based off a price, right? Like, how do you know? Like, the price is this much or it's this much. How do I know what my expectations should be? Like, what would your expectations be if you were getting a kitchen done and there's one guy said, okay, it's going to be $80,000, and the other one said it's going to be $40,000? Like, how do you judge what your expectations are based on the price when you don't really know what all goes into it? Does that make
Well,
sense?
here's something I'm up against, and maybe this will answer your question, Jason. I'm um I'm getting a new back door installed. We haven't picked out the door. We just had it measured. And I know what I used to charge if I hung a door, an exterior door, and this is back in the the mid early to mid 90s because I was helping a buddy. We would do doors and we would charge labor about 400, sometimes 500, the labor, right? Okay. Plus, of course, they bought the door, whatever, or we would go get the door, whatever. And it was, it was cool. We'd split the money 250, 250, and we'd do it in an evening. Now, Marianne brought somebody in from Lowe's who's very well respected amongst all the contractors, the subs out of Lowe's. And he was really great with her. She told me about the conversation. She goes, "How much?" And I thought about it and I extrapolated the price and I said, "He told you $1,000, right?" She goes, "God, how did you know?" And I go, "Do you think that's a lot?" And she goes, "Yes, but she goes, he gave me a high estimate because he didn't want me to be shocked, us to be shocked at the end." Okay. And he said it might come in at 600 or 700.
What is that to install the
That's
door?
just installation without a door.
But how much is the door?
We don't know yet. We haven't picked it out.
Because I see it as most people charge at least what the door costs to install it. Sometimes it's 1.5 now. That's kind of what I see like a general rule of thumb,
Gotcha.
which I think
Gotcha.
it makes sense. Because you think about exterior doors now, they used to be like 260 and now they're getting closer to like 400, like a
Yeah.
standard six. And I wouldn't consider even, installing that under $400. Think of the price of the
Oh,
door,
I
you
I
know.
asked my buddy on the weekend, and I told him the whole story I just told you, and he said, "Wow." And I go, "Yeah, you got to up your price, bro."
Yeah.
I go, "You're
Yeah, they're
working
pricey.
with early 2000 pricing for your installation of doors." And he
Hmm.
goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's what they're charging." I go, "Yeah." I go, "Look at my neighbor's window. She had a cracked pane. They go, "We don't do panes." And he goes, "How much do they charge for just that one window?" I go, $500
Hmm.
to install it
Yeah.
and a new window, but
Right.
and I some and you know what? I'm not complaining about it.
Right.
It's just I know what it takes to do that, and boy, prices have gone up. I'm out of it now.
Yeah. It
I'm not
just
pricing anymore, and
Well, let
um,
me ask you this: if you had called another company to come out and they said the install is going to be $2,000, what would your expectations be for the 1,000 versus the 2,000? Would they
um,
differ?
I would hope that would include the door. I wouldn't pay two
yeah.
thousand for that. No way
Yeah.
in hell, just for an installation. Um, I okay. So Rick, did I tell the story about Rick's? He had to have his steps raised.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
I told you that, right?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
It,
He was having that
and he
done.
got like I think $3,000. One was 4,000. So this was quite some time ago. Then he had this old codgety guy come out, and he went 750. And Rick goes, "Huh?" And he asked him because he had a great conversation with us. He was a gentleman, older guy. He goes, "It's my son's going to come out and do it," and a couple other guys. And he goes, "You can do it all for 750." They blow the foam underneath, raise the steps. They even leveled his sidewalk walking in his entryway. And Rick goes, he goes, "Oh, are you shocked?" And it was a really cool conversation. Rick goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I taught those other guys." He named both companies. He goes, "Oh, you called so and so and so so." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "They're trying to mass scale it, and they got all the overhead of salespeople,
Hmm.
cars, trucks,
Right.
and office work." He goes, "It's me, my son, and a few helpers." And he goes, "I clean up after those guys."
And that's exactly what I do. That's exactly where I am.
Yep.
There's, and I love that there's people there higher because it really helps you out when people are checking around.
Yes. But
Well, see, I think that's like the problem that I'm struggling with, and that's why I can't. You have seven guys come out, and you get seven different estimates. One's
yeah,
really
no
expensive,
trust.
one's really cheap. What if you end up taking the cheap one and it's a shitty experience? But it's like, well, what were my expectations for that cheap price? I'm judging it off of I used to run a business and I know how to deal with customers and I know what they want, what they don't want, and you know,
You know,
I know how I'm going to price things. But then, so should my expectations be less for the lower guy than it would be if I paid the $6,000 to have the same job done? Like that's what I'm struggling with is that there are so many different price points for different tasks. Like I'll use the door as an example too. We're having a door replaced, our front door, screen door, custom side lights, and it's a fiberglass door. So it was expensive. And it was like $6,500 is the price of the door, custom and installed. And I'm like, called Anderson Home and they're going to give me a fiberglass door, but it's like $13,000 because they have the overhead and all that other stuff. And it's like, at the end of the day, are they using the same crews to install it?
Yes, probably.
Probably,
Yep.
and then so like how do I
so
temper my expectations? But then I'm like, I'm almost getting to a point because I keep having so many bad experiences with contractors
Yes.
I know
that
you're
I almost like just want to hire the expensive guy or like ask questions like what
mm-mm.
tools do you use, what do you do, and
Yeah, you got to
You're
like
grill them.
interview them, how do you go about
you're
keeping my house clean, and like seeing those like because then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to hire this guy. I don't care, it's $6,000. I know I'm not going to have to worry about it. But at the same time, how do you know that's not going to be the experience of the 35? And is it fair for me to have those expectations when I'm spending the money? Or is it like that conversation of, well, if you wanted better work, you should have paid more money? Like
but here
it's this whole thing is so frustrating.
I can help you with it. I know what you could change. You could
What?
change picking your job based on the price and go by reputation.
Ah,
Right. And I want to
trust.
start doing
And
that.
if you think
Trust.
about when I think about the upper level clientele that I have, I noticed it early on. I thought it was really weird that we didn't get to price when they started talking about like, well, when you come, you can drive into this backyard. We have a septic system here. And I'm thinking, I haven't even given these people a price yet. And then first I thought, wow, they just don't care. I started seeing it more and more and more and more. And what those all had in common is they were told by their friend, Sedge
Hmm.
or Jason, to call
Yep.
me. So
Hmm.
they know right then that their friend said that I will meet the expectations, and the expectations for them of me doing what I say I'm going to do are more
Correct.
important than what it costs.
Correct.
And
Mhm.
I realize that. So that I always kind of keep that in mind. And when I'm dealing with those kind of customers, I kind of go a little bit overboard with it. Like Sedge said, if I'm sitting at a light and I'm 2 lights away, supposed to be there at 8, I'll send a message and say, hey, in traffic, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And they're
Yep.
like, no problem. They're sitting there going, huh, I don't care if you're 10 minutes late. I do things like that. And the other thing
Mm.
I do on the first day, if you know what you're doing, you know where you're going to get the first day and the second day and the third day. And especially on deck ceilings, people are so excited. And I always tell them, we're going to show up on day one and we're going to work the entire day on perimeter gutters and things that you're not ever going to see. And you're going to come home and go, what did these guys do today? And then I tell them the second day you're going to see results. That also keeps them from looking out the window constantly the
Yes.
first day. It accomplishes a lot of things. But the other thing I always do to set expectations is I tell them that week that we're going to start on Monday, I say, now that doesn't mean we're going to show up first thing in the morning. We have to go to Monday to the shop and load up all the job, the materials, get it all ready. Then you're 45 minutes from our shop. We won't be there until
You're
like 10:30.
you're
And
educating them.
yes,
Right.
yes. And you said earlier, Jason, you said, well, I don't know everything about drywall. That's his job to tell you what he thinks
Yes.
you should know. That's the difference
Yes.
there. And I think that goes a long way because then there's no miscommunication on that. But I think I'm seeing more and more why the smarter upper tier that have made good decisions in life, and that's why I guess they're there. They've figured out that it's better to go with
You,
somebody that somebody knows
Mhm.
because you're going to have much less chance versus picking between three numbers.
a
You
good
know,
contractor walks the client through the job with them, and it gets to a point sometimes the client goes, I don't need to know all that. but
Right.
I appreciate you trying to educate me through the process.
So the
That
way
way,
I
they're not second guessing and
correct.
go, oh, what's going on? I think
Right.
that's a big. Okay, so for me, it's word of mouth. I don't care if I have to wait for something. It took me 18 years, and that's for a lot of things. Just when I started Sedge, hey, I need a good CPA bookkeeper. Yep, I got him. I go to a friend who I trust, and he pointed me in the right direction. Um, I got a great attorney now. It sounds like I haven't met them, but I got paperwork already for something I'm working through right now, and it's all about trust. So, I don't want to bring somebody into my home I don't trust, and that is
Mhm.
the toughest thing in the world. Um, it's about meeting expectations, but you know what? The just I mean, Lowe's sends these guys who are hacks to put a hot water heater in. Okay, I just don't want to lug it up and down the stairs. Okay, I just it doesn't leak. I'm happy with it. It's a hot water heater, but these guys were hacks. You know,
Yeah.
Let, I want to
I
ask.
mean, when it came to installing a microwave, that's easy. I have somebody I trust. It's a guy who I even help him. I'm his helper, and he doesn't want money, but I give him the money. It's just somebody I trust, and he goes, "Yeah, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll take care of the installation." Somebody at Lowe's. It's you have to find the connections. Okay, here's one for you, Jason, about expectations. Our electrician James comes in. You ever balk on price?
Never,
Yeah, because we
because I
trust
know what I'm
him.
getting and I trust him. Yeah,
I
you're right.
know. He shows up. He's great. He's he's just a laid back dude. He's
And
happy, man. And
and
that's somebody I can recommend to anybody.
and what you just described, if somebody can come in doing those kind of things, they are going to be overwhelmed very quickly,
Yep.
very quickly. I mean, I'm leery of the more that a business advertises, just on certain types of businesses, especially a service business. If they're
Oh,
killing it with advertising, I'm kind of wondering why. Why? Because I can't imagine I could run 3 crews right now if I took on everything that I got, which I don't want that overhead. And
no.
I'm thinking I wouldn't be putting, I mean, a magazine ad is $1,000, $1,200. When I say a local magazine, like a lifestyle, $1,200 you're spending on it, and you're not getting that return back. So I really think that's almost a warning when you hear too
S-
much. Now,
Okay.
HVAC companies are different because they can have 30 vans running in a town, so if they're wanting to really go mass, that's different. I'm talking about tradespeople that are doing the work. I'd be very leery of the ones that are spending a lot of money on advertising.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that makes me realize that I literally went against every single thing hiring this individual that I normally would do. There's two things that I uh, look at as a negative. One of them is what you just said. If they're advertised everywhere, because my experience with companies like Anderson and B Window and all these different the ones that have these, they come into your house are like, well, it'd be 120,000, but we're going to give it to you for 55% off, so it's a great deal. It's like, no, dude, you're still $30,000 over any other company in this area, right? So that's one thing because I know they have all the overhead. I know that they're going to give me a ridiculous price. My door is an example. If I would have gone with any of these major companies that are, doing commercials and all this stuff like advertisements, flyers, all of these things, I know it would have been double. It would have been double. The other thing, and this, you know, I don't, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not saying this to insult any of our listeners because I used to be this person as well. Um, if they only have a Facebook page, right, and they don't have a website, or they don't have anything at all that I can look at, another huge red flag, right? I
But
feel like there needs to be something, right?
there, let's give Sedge as an example, but let's add like 15 years to Sedge's age. If Sedge was doing trim carpentry right now, and there was just a few other changes, he would be only on a personal Facebook probably. He wouldn't have created that page. He wouldn't create anything because he'd be so busy. He's not trying to find work. So there
Right.
are people that if they're not electronically or whatever, and they've just never needed to, there are people, even there could be a 25-year-old now who just he's always been busy. and he doesn't take the time to do that because they're not trying to attract business, especially Facebook. I'll say Facebook was the worst thing in the world for me because that was attracted all the wrong customers.
And and
You know,
these
Right.
guys don't even have time for Facebook or
right,
Instagram, the good guys, and they
right.
don't advertise. They're
Well, so
subs. They're
yeah,
subs, and they're freaking unbelievable. And they're in their 20s and 30s. I know two dudes in Maine that are killing it because they're so good. That
And they, yeah, they
that
they
won't
that
got
take
like
the
they,
time.
they got 100 followers on Instagram.
yeah, no,
But they,
that's
but they have a
irrelevant.
reputation though. That's where that reputation would catch that.
Hmm.
That you didn't
Yeah.
throw somebody out because they didn't have a Facebook page because your guy that knows says these guys are good, and you
But
would
how does
trust
Jason
that.
find them?
No,
Yeah.
but
Well,
what I'm
Right?
that too.
saying, yeah, word
Yeah.
of
I need
mouth.
somebody
But
like something like that.
I'm not saying that like having one of those is necessarily a bad thing. But what it takes me back to is when I remember when I first started doing client work, how did I get my customers? I
Yep.
went on Facebook
Yeah.
Marketplace. What that tells me is that if you're looking for your business by posting an ad on Facebook Marketplace and trying to send people to your Facebook page, which nobody ever goes to in the first place, and there's no reviews or anything, and I can't like at least kind of see something, or I don't know anybody and I'm just trying to find someone, it makes me think that they're very early on and very new, and it may not be the best person
Or
to go with.
or they're working strictly off Facebook leads and they're not getting any recommendations. So
Yeah.
they're constantly having to create a new pyramid and they kill off the pyramid. They had to find another person.
Yeah.
That's the other
Because I mean,
thing.
I advertised on Facebook Marketplace. That's how because I didn't know any better. That's how I got started. But guess what? As soon as I made a name for myself, I never posted anything to Facebook again. And I was getting calls constantly.
Right.
Because you did good work and you got recommended by other clients.
Yeah.
And
So
that's how
I
it's
guess
built.
the word of mouth, like this
It's the
just
best.
proves. I mean, it literally is. And,
It's
looking back
So-
at it now, I should have taken the first recommendation or one of those three guys. I should have only called them.
So the red flag for me on that whole ordeal was your friend who you trusted said, "I just met a guy in the Home Depot parking lot."
yeah, because
How do you know? How does
Yeah.
this guy know he's good?
He
How does he
doesn't. And he
know?
made that very clear.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Yeah.
he was like,
but
I know
red
nothing
flag.
about him, but if you end up hiring this guy, let me know how he does because I'm always looking for more guys.
Right. I know.
And it was
You know,
funny because that guy reached out to him like twice trying to get work while I was in Germany.
the
Oh,
that's crazy. The other red flag to me was when he was there, hadn't given you a quote yet, and started saying he could do everything else. That to me, that's a red flag because when you're doing the work, the last thing you're wanting to do is add onto your to-do list when you haven't even gotten the first part of the job.
Yeah.
That was kind of that was a red flag also, and also that he didn't get the quote right to you. Like whenever I sit on a quote, even for a few days, and it means I'm not that excited about it, to do it. And
Well,
it
I was
doesn't take
especially
drywall's
shocked
easy.
that he didn't get it to me sooner because I asked him straight up. I was like, how far out are you working right now? He's like, well, I'm doing a project this week, but I could start as early as next week. And I'm like, honestly, to me, that's another red flag.
Yeah, it is.
But
There
at the
was a-
same time, I liked it because I'm on a timeline myself and like I want to get these things done, right? But
So-
again, going back to should my expectations have been lower? You know what I mean? Like I want somebody right now. Well, guess what? The best guy may not be able to do it right now. More than likely, the best guy absolutely cannot do it right now because he's the best guy.
Well, and the problem is it's going to be hard to get that
Correct.
best guy in there to do your one room. That's the other sliding scale.
Yep.
If you do get him in there, it's going to be the 5,000 that I guessed your drywall price was because I knew that was what would be worth his time,
Mhm.
but it's a sliding scale. But as long as the expectations, you're right. That's a key. But one that Sedge asked a minute ago, how do you find it when you don't have any connections? I know the answer to that. It's calling the supplier of whatever it is. If it's drywall, call the local. There's only probably one or two drywall supplier places in like Indianapolis that deliver to all the, or maybe there's more. I don't know. But call those places, or actually, it's better if you can go in person. But those guys in the front office, they know the people that are working, and they also know the people who are paying their bill. Because they usually have a 1 month
that's a
that
good
pay,
point.
and they're never going to recommend people that aren't current or 90 days back. They know the guys that seem
Man, you always
financially
have
healthy.
these gems. You did the
Yeah.
same thing for the plumbing stuff.
Well, it's the that's the key. That
That's
and
so smart.
because if you go to the professional remodeling companies, they're never going to give out their cleaning lady. Now that would be the other example in our neighborhood. We should try to find who's your cleaning person. Oh, well, she's busy. They don't want to give out the number
No.
because we may pay them more and they may quit and they've had her for 5 years.
Yep.
Same with the high end remodelers. They have their little pick of people. The companies I work for, when they happen to have the things I offer, I get called on it, but they do a lot of projects a year. Every project I go to has the same painter guy, the same finish carpenter in there,
Oh
the
yeah.
same one. And I
Oh
say the
yeah.
same. They have about two different crews they work with on everything, and I see them every job. And I think about how important it is that those people are on their
Oh
site.
yeah.
So they try to give them enough jobs to keep them full time and never let them leave.
And we
And
all knew
that's
each other.
yeah, and that's why they would never give it to you. Even if you were a really, really good friend, they would not give up their person because that's
Yeah,
part of their power and that's how they make money.
exactly.
But the suppliers don't care. They'll tell you. A paint store is another really good example. I mean, I worked at a paint store in high school and college, and we knew the big players. We knew who they were. Like at Sherwin-Williams knows like there's probably four people that are the people that the paint store would exist if just those four people came. It would be worth it. And everybody else is just part of the mix. And you know them off the top of your head. You know, they're doing good work. And you also know the people who are doing commercial work only and the people who are doing residential work only.
Yes.
You know the people who just got started and broke off from a painter and he knows he's a good guy, and that he'll be good. You could even get some things like that. But it's a great place to start, I think, if you don't have any other knowledge of it.
That's so valuable. I would have never even you said that for like a Ferguson's when you're looking for like a
Hmm.
plumber. You
Yes.
said the same thing. But that's
Exactly.
so true that that company would be like, they're not going to give you the turds. They're only because that's going to rely on them getting paid when they order the
Right.
materials and for
They
the
want to
job
sell
and
the
all that.
product.
Yes.
They want to sell the product. And then they also
And they
can
want to
come
get
back.
paid for it.
They can also tell them that they sent somebody their way and they get a little cookie in their pocket. It's a good business relationship with that person that they
Hmm.
know, oh, I buy my paint from here or my drywall from here and they give me business. So it's a little what's called a back rub on both sides, double back rub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let Let me ask you guys a question because I just thought about this. Would you have a different opinion? We need an example. So the example will be you're going to have your kitchen remodeled. Okay. You call two different companies. One company says, you're like, hey, I want to do my kitchen remodel. Do you have you ask the question, do you have a per linear foot cost starting price for kitchens? One company says, no, I'll need to come out and, measure everything, and do a walkthrough and talk to you about what you want. And then the second company you call, when you say, do you have a per linear foot starting price? And they say, yep, our per linear foot starting price is $1,500. Would you have a different opinion right off the bat between those two individuals or those two companies?
When it comes to a kitchen,
Yeah.
I would take that first one.
I
I
think
want them to I want them to see my space. I would never I hated that question. Do you have a per linear foot cost?
yeah,
So I thought it would be
That's
interesting to
complete
ask that question with you,
that's
but
completely yeah, I have
but
to see what they're driving, what they're
mhm.
wearing. I'm just kidding.
Well, to a certain point.
Yeah. I have to see what else is in the house. And I'm just kidding.
But
No,
there
it's custom. I did custom and I can't give linear foot.
I totally agree
And
with that.
I want to educate I would you heard me say it earlier. I want to educate you on a very big purchase for your home.
Yeah. I could see either answer being okay. That 1,500 could be a cabinet shop that's so fully busy right now. They really don't care if they get your kitchen or not. Could
Hmm.
be that because you didn't say so and so at so and so supply told me to give you a call. And that's going to change everything because it came as a recommendation. You're not like a cold call, so that got to keep in mind with that. But sometimes I tell people when I don't know anything about them or they don't come through me from a lead, I usually say, our our screens usually run around 3,500 to 4,000 each. Is this in the within the budget that you're looking? and then I let them say yes or no. Sometimes I never hear back. They don't even reply back. They
Right.
just saw it on the internet, thought it'd be cool, But I do that because I'm the owner, salesperson, like installer. I can't run out 45
Pre-qualifying.
minutes away.
You're
But
pre-qualifying.
yeah, pre-qualifying. But I totally agree with Sedge. If I was in the cabinet business, I would never give a
Well,
blanket per square foot because somebody could want what you're building in their entire kitchen all the way around. They're going to lose money. You know.
No, 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 no. But I'm saying like they would say, prices start at this, um, and obviously it would go up from there depending on what it is that you want. Let me share my point of view on that. I was really interested to hear Sedge's thought process behind that. But the reason why I would lean towards the second situation is one, because what you just talked about, pre qualifying. To me, that tells me it's just like when I was building client work and they're like, the very first question I would ask is, what is your budget? Right? Because I learned that I wasted too much time going on site to talk about this just to find out that they were nowhere near the price that I wanted to charge. So pre-qualifying would be like, hey, they're going to start at this, and that's going to be like your basic cabinetry stuff. But it also gives the person that's calling an idea. Okay, I have an 18-foot wall and I wanted to do 8-foot cabinets. It's going to be this much money. That's way out of my budget. Thank you so much for your time. But the other thing that tells me, as somebody that ran a business dealing with furniture, um, is that person like values their time, and they also know how to, kind of like what you're saying, Ronnie, with $4,500 to $3,000 to $4,000 or whatever.
Mhm.
Right off the bat that's going to save you that time, and you've built that structure. Now it could go up, but at least it gives that trigger, like, okay, I think I can do that. I'd love to have you come out. And then it's like, okay, now the trip is worth it because they already have this expectation. They know what the price is going to be. Then it's like, hey, I'm going to walk through. Oh, you don't want just standard cabinets. You want like white oak. Okay, so now it's going to be, that's going to up the cost. Oh, you want undermount drawer slides, soft close. Okay, that's going to, you know, up the cost. Or you want really wide drawer boxes. Like that's non-standard. That's going to up the cost. But at least like they're prepared, and it just tells me that that person may have been doing it a little bit longer. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because there's nothing worse than like going and sitting down. Like, I want this dream kitchen table. Okay, cool. Or dining room table. What are your thoughts? This. Okay, it's going to be this much. Oh my God, that's $5,000 more than I could just go to this store and buy it
oh,
for
it,
that.
it was so easy on the phone, the pre-qualification. Hey, how'd you find us? Okay, if it was somebody I'd worked for before, I go, oh, okay. Um, we do custom. What does that mean? I had this drilled down in my head because I was qualifying because I didn't want to waste my time going there. Okay, and there were a few questions too that were pre-qualifying. Did you go to Home Depot or IKEA or Lowe's and look at cabinets there? Because I build a completely different style of cabinet. I don't do melamine. I do all 3/4 inch. And you just start educating them there before you walk out of the shop to
Mm-hmm.
walk into their home. It was a phone call. I'd get on a phone call with them. That was all. Um,
Mhm.
do you have any basic prices? No, ma'am, because I don't want to waste your time and shock you when I get there
Right.
about adding under my, when people say, oh, hardware, oh, I get to pick out knobs and pulls. I go, no,
Mm-hmm.
those are the hinges. Do you like how they close softly and drawer slides? And I would educate them. I go, this all adds to it. I had a guy who wanted a 12-foot long wall unit built in, 12 feet high in the middle. And he thought he was going to trade me routers, Milwaukee routers for it. He was a Milwaukee rep in Boca Raton.
That's
Man,
funny.
that's a killer deal.
You
And
know,
I went, what? I went, huh? He goes, yeah, I was going to trade you for tools. I go, yeah,
I'm good.
yeah.
That's
And
funny.
and when it comes to linear feet, it's tough because people don't know that standard, and
Mhm.
they think, oh, linear feet, and then they want the 8 footers, and it gets into a little bit of a sticker shock when you start educating them there when they have a predetermined price, linear foot wise. So I stayed away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried at least. There was a going rate that was horrible some of these hacks in Fort Lauderdale. I was trying to remember. I think they would say 1,000 a linear foot, and I was like, "Ooh, you're gonna get yourself into a pinch." And they were hacks. They could care less. Sometimes they would go and buy the cabinets at
From
Home
a place
Cheapo and
called IKEA.
IKEA.
It's pronounced. It's foreign. They're very
It's
good cabinets.
foreign. It's foreign.
I,
Oh man.
I just thought of something that happened last week that applies perfectly to this. My neighbor across the street, she's a single, very handy do it yourself. She does amazing projects all the time, takes it on. She doesn't want to bother me. She'll just be like, can you just tell me how to do this? I love to help her because she wants to know how to do it herself. She started not really liking the color of her cabinets and she went to a cabinet refacing or called a cabinet refacing place. This was just last week. And she didn't even tell me she was doing this because she just knew she had good cabinets, but thought, well, I just want to change them to white. Maybe that's the cheapest way to do it. They would not give her a price, would not tell her. They said, we need to come out to your house, need to come out to your house, need to come out. So finally she let her come out and she got the quote and she sent me a message. She's like, how much do you think it was to get my cabinets refaced? How much do you think they said? And her kitchen's like it's a little bit smaller. I'd say it's like maybe an L shape with the other wall, very basic size kitchen, pretty much. Nothing special about it. And I was like, I think maybe like 5 or 6 thousand is what I would guess. She was like, how about 15,000? And I said, what? And she said, I know. She's like, well, while we were talking, told me where she was from. And I asked her if she knew you because she knew that's where I went to high school. She goes, yeah, we graduated together. She goes, well, he lives across the street. And she goes, oh, well, that's cool. Remember that part of the story. Okay. So we're going along. They're going through the process. And when she told her that price, she goes, "Oh gosh," she goes, "That's way higher than I thought it was going to be." And she was like, "Well, what were you expecting?" And she was like, "Well, I think I would replace my cabinets for that cost. I don't really love my countertops anyway." And she's like, "Well, I saw you had a Lexus in your garage." She's like, "You know, that was an investment that you made. You know, why can't you make an investment in this?" And she was like, "Well,"
Wow.
and then she said, "You know, it's not." Oh, these are three
That's
comebacks she had. That
that's
was one.
ballsy.
That was one. The second one the salesman had, I'll save the best one for last. The second one she had was, we have financing, and that's probably how you bought the car in the garage. So you can just finance this. She told her that
Wow.
after that. The third one was, she said, I think the reason why you think the price is high is because Ronnie lives across the street and he does a lot of things for you, and you don't realize how much things cost now.
Jesus Christ. Did you
It's
know this
I do know her. I know her to the level of that I knew her, but she was not like a friend. She actually
oh
lived in the same neighborhood as me, like around the corner, but we weren't, tight or anything, but I still remember her name. But she was the salesperson. Like, you don't think about people you go to high school with ending up in your neighborhood, working, doing jobs like that. But she was aware of what I do now just from Facebook and things like that. So that's why she told her that.
ooh, you got a
Um,
stalker, Ronnie.
no, well, anybody you went to high school with usually knows what you're doing now. I think for the most people would never know about YouTube and stuff, but they know Facebook side because like said, you knew when I was on Facebook, I used to post. I had my company page and I was using it as a
Yep.
business card. And when I left Toyota, I just started loading that thing down, and I would tag Festool and everybody. It was my Instagram at the time.
Yep.
That was in '97.
That was your
No,
business card, man.
2009.
That was your
Sorry.
business card. You could show jobs on there. People could go and walk through some stuff for you and
Yes.
see how
Yes.
your quality of work.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was my business card. Like Jason said. Now it would have, and here's the thing, somebody checked me out, they would be like, well, he's new to the business. But I was getting good clients, and those people, although I hate to do it, if somebody really wanted me to, I would give out the number for somebody to call. I very rarely give references because I don't want to bother the people who brought me on. It's not their job, to keep doing that. So I really don't like that. I had that opportunity just a week ago. Somebody said, I'd like to go around and see some of the jobs that you installed. And I responded back to him and I told him, I'll send you pictures of any type of house or install color that I have done. I'll tell you the address of the house, but I do not feel comfortable asking the homeowner for you to come visit because I wouldn't like it myself.
Yeah.
My pool guy asked me when mine was being built, he asked me if somebody that was just in the next neighborhood over could come over and look. And it was a little different to me that they were, right there. And I said, yes. But once we had the fence up and everything, I'm not
Yeah.
really, I mean, what's my
No.
incentive?
Yep.
Risking somebody could trip and fall in my backyard.
No. Somebody says, "Oh, can I bring them over your house and show them?" Like, absolutely not.
Yeah. So I
It's
told
my
him that.
sanctuary, man.
I told him in the email, I said, I don't give out. I'll tell you that. But, and they're like, okay, because I was recommended to them, they shouldn't have to need and we'll wait till the next one. But I think it'd be a good topic to talk about this one because the things that have been in the email chain have reminded me of my nightmare customer. And this morning, Kelly and I's conversation is, I think I'm going to say no, thank you. And then Kelly responds, she needs to listen to the podcast. She goes, just price it really high. And I said, what if they say yes? That's not a good thing. I'm not going to do this with price, but I think I'm going to fire. It's not a client. I think I'm going to fire an inquiry that's building a $2 million house and they've sent off every warning bill, every warning bill,
Really?
hmm including the talks I've had with the builder.
Really?
Yes. He ended one
They keep they
he ended
keep wanting you to do the job.
he when I talked to the builder last time, he ended the sentence with, well, yeah, he goes, if you can give me samples because these customers, and he didn't say anything else, and I'm hearing that. And the last time I was there, I noticed the Tyvek was faded on the front and they have like Hardy towards some other sides. And he's talking to me about deck sealing. I told Cameron, I said, it's a bad sign that the 84 Lumber logo is pink and the Tyvek is light blue. And so when I called the builder back, I was like, I noticed you haven't put the front on there yet. He's like, yeah, that the customers just made a front door decision. It's going to be 3 more months before it comes in. And that's all he said. He didn't sugarcoat it or anything. I could hear his frustration.
Yeah.
And I find myself in the same situation where they're wanting a back porch area to be constructed that he needs me for. And I'm not able to trust that he will share with me if they're a problem or not.
Yeah.
And all the warning bells are going off. Also, the
Walk.
day that I got an inquiry, a web inquiry from the builder, I called the builder back and the homeowners get second priority, just like what we were talking about earlier, Jason. And it was actually, they both inquired the same day. So they knew the builder was inquiring. They inquired as well. And I
Oof.
almost set up two different appointments because one said the neighborhood and the other one said the address and realized that they both inquired. But the expectations I think are not there because they email me and they're obviously sitting at a desk because it's always instantaneous response. And once I waited about 2 or 3 hours before and it was like, hello, are you still there? And I'm thinking, do you think I'm just sitting at a desk, like emailing you during the day, kind of thing. The other thing, and I'll tell you, this is one of the worst ones that happened. They said, after I said he couldn't go to a client's house, I said, I can send you pictures, hundreds of pictures. I've been doing these for 16 years in the town. I can send you hundreds. And she, she or he, the name is Shannon. I think it's a he, but he or she. So I might confuse the he or she. Um, he or she said, we're going to spend a lot of time on our patio. So we want something that looks really nice. And right there, I thought, do you know who I am? I mean, really, I was like, I usually don't have to justify to people that I do nice work. I wouldn't even do the project if it doesn't look nice. They don't understand. I don't even like take every job on. And usually my response back to this, because this is a $2 million house. And I said, I generally work in 1 million and up houses only. And I kind of just try to like go, you get your expectations here. And I just didn't like that. I
Nope.
didn't like that they have me coming on site with the expectation that they have to tell me they want it to look nice. That's why I just don't feel like
Don't.
that I should go
Don't.
forward with these
You're
people.
getting red flags, Ronnie. Walk.
They are, aren't they? They're just a lot of
Yes.
red flags. And also, I talked to the builder one last time, and I said, I want you to know they contacted me and they want me to come out. And he said, oh, that's fine. You can work directly with them. I don't mind. And I thought,
Oh, walk away.
I don't like this.
No, walk away.
I don't like it. It was our morning conversation with Kelly, this 30 minutes. He emailed me this morning and I haven't sent it back yet, but I think I'm going to walk because I don't want to take on another headache, you know? And it really comes back to expectations. It comes back to what Jason's saying, that it also goes the other way. If the customer's expectations are not matching with what I can do, you're better to walk now. You know, if they
Yeah.
don't trust what you're going to be doing, if they ask you a question, they come back and be like, well, I really don't know if you're telling me the truth or not. That's
They're
not
gonna
going to get
nitpick.
better.
They're gonna nitpick you the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's not going to get better. So
Mm,
I think that I need to learn from what happened to me and not do it again
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I that's a whole nother topic. I didn't mean to get too far off, but it's all about expectations, and it
Well,
goes both ways. You
you
know,
should have said, "Hey, did you finance your Lamborghini in the garage?"
Yeah.
what's crazy is she's paid cash for everything. She doesn't know that was so offensive to her.
Dude,
That
dude,
she's
I would have said, "Please leave."
yeah, was pretty much nicely did. She said she was nicer to her because she found out she knew me, and she didn't want to be. But yeah, she didn't get a call back, and that was a major reputable company, by the way, very major.
Nice. I want to hear that full story. Sounds like it could be interesting. We'll decide. Sedge and I will decide whether or not you take the job.
You're gonna
Uh,
decide. Okay.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll
We might
decide.
end up with another Instagram viral post.
So,
Yeah.
hey, Ronnie, I just want to ask you, next summer sometime, can I borrow your mud mixer?
Sure.
Okay.
Because you know what you're doing. You take care of tools.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
I got talked into. I went to a barbecue yesterday, and we were sitting under another pergola, that Pascal had put up, and Marianne loved it, and it was reminiscent of the one I did with the bushes. And I kept saying no, 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 and then I kind of got talked into pouring a pad and putting and ordering one of those, but not a humongous one, like a 12 by 12,
Ordering what? One of
a pergola.
but what
No,
you're
one of
ordering? Oh, order okay, doing the pad and ordering okay. Yeah,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, so I kind of got talked into that by three, four ladies, all up against me. They wanted me to do it this summer. I said no next year. How about March? I go, no. I was negotiating right there, eating sausage and drinking beers. I got sucked into it.
That would be a good one for Cameron and I to come up and help you with it. Three people doing concrete is like awesome.
Yep, that'd be
Hmm.
cool. Great
You know what
content.
else is awesome? Three
What?
people building a covered
Over
patio
covered thing.
attached to the home.
That's the only reason why I offered is because it would be a 1 day thing.
Yes.
And we could definitely get it done fairly quickly.
Hmm.
And it's really nice when you have one person throwing the bag on, the other person
Yeah.
spreading, the other person, it would go very nicely. Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
So yeah, just
Well,
let me know when that's coming up.
Yeah, we'll have fun. Maybe we could finish the boat too next summer.
Hopefully the boat will be done by then.
Dude, just I know we're getting ready to sign off, but I'm going to tell you what. Everybody listening has to go to Fulton Fine Woodworks and watch episode number 10, because that boat, the way you did it, Ronnie. I mean, we were describing it on the podcast, talking it through. What an amazing video. That is so, you guys did such a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. I was really glad to get that one out. That we had 9 hours of footage added up over the last 5 weeks that I had to go through. And I took 27 hours to turn 9 hours of footage into 30 minutes.
Yeah. You know what's really cool? If you've watched every single episode, I swear to God, Cam has grown another 6 inches taller.
And looks older. I agree.
He does, doesn't he?
I agree. It's happening very quickly. I agree.
Yeah. Wow.
Shocking.
Wow.
Shocking. And speaking of that, he moved away yesterday to
He did, huh?
he moved back to Kelly's, the house she grew up in, with his two friends. And they're
Oh,
going to be
wow.
two of them going to lineman school, and he's going to be doing some things back and forth. So yesterday we officially became pretty much empty nesters.
Wow.
We just went to a Mexican restaurant and sat there and cried.
Nice. We ran like hell from Fort Lauderdale to Indiana.
That's funny.
It'll get
Wow.
better.
It'll get better. Yeah, we'll still see them plenty. They still rely on us. They're not independent yet. So I told
Yeah.
Kelly, there's that.
Yeah. When they need money, you'll see them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we got to wrap this one up, but I just realized because we never talked about what we've been up to, because that topic was
That was
great.
That was great.
Yes.
We want to thank our gold sponsors for
Yes.
SplinterCon, which is Leather by Dragonfly,
Woo.
Forge 3D, and we have
Woo.
two additions.
Two new additions.
Celiche USA is a gold level sponsor, and my good buddy Matthew will actually be at the event to talk all things
Nice.
Celiche with
I
our
can't wait to meet
attendees.
him. I can't
Yeah.
wait to meet him.
He's actually bringing his wife.
Nice.
And then our good friend, Mr. Jonathan Katz Moses and KM Tools signed on to be a gold level sponsor. And I just got an email from John while we're recording this podcast with a list of things that he's going to send us for the giveaway as well. And it's pretty cool.
Cool.
That
Hey,
is so awesome.
we don't have any Finnish companies, do we?
Like what kind of? Oh, like
No.
like somebody like a Rubio.
Yeah. I just checked my email. Stay tuned next week. He's asking.
Nice.
He's asking what who the other sponsors are. He goes,
Ah,
"Is there a platinum plus level?"
Oh, everybody has a price.
That's
Platinum
right.
Plus.
We could call it the Sedgy Wingy level.
Yeah. The wingy level. All right.
So,
I got to go deal with Leo. He's being a stinker.
All right.
oh,
Well, Leo will be moving out before you know it.
yeah.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
be an empty nester.
It gets better and then it gets harder for that.
Well, hey, I was playing soccer with the three boys yesterday. I almost
Yeah.
passed out.
Yeah. I almost fell. Took out one of my boys.
Yeah.
Knocked him on the ground.
You had unrealistic expectations of what you
Yeah.
could do out there.
Yep. All right,
Max
guys.
almost took me out.
Yeah. Well, he's a little terror, is what he is. All right.
All right.
Cool.
Let's wrap this one up. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed that.
Yeah,
think it
that
was
was
a-
excellent, I
It
think.
was a good
I had
discussion.
that was a great discussion. Yep.
Yeah. Always fun.
All right, everybody. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
listening. If you're coming to SplinterCon, we can't wait to see you.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.